That's so cool.
So this week we are
We're
going
gonna
to
show you how we build the doors of our wardrobe. So let's get started. I'm Duca.
And I'm Roberta.
And together we are building our own time shipping container house.
So don't forget to subscribe
And to join us every Monday for a new episode. It took us months to decide which color we wanted for the doors of the wardrobe, and we finally decided that's gonna be the color. Yeah, but that's gonna be the outside color, right?
Yeah, we decided to use white inside because it's way cheaper than this one.
Yeah, the thing is, we could just apply this in front and just paint the back, but if we don't paint right the back, means that the door can warp, because if you apply laminated in one side and the other one is not laminated, it's gonna absorb more water and then it warps. So it's much more safe to apply laminated in both sides to make sure it won't warp. So to save money, we're gonna use white. That actually we have some leftovers.
We bought a new one, but we have...
Yeah, but we're gonna use, because white we always use, so it's gonna be white on the inside and this beautiful color on the outside. So let's do it. That's it. I mean, now we need to get the plywood. So let's get the plywood now. First door, that's the first door, and I'm curious to see in place.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works actually, it fits. Surprise! Yeah, it's gonna fit. We just did a template, just to make sure we know how much over the plywood goes, like, because it goes overlap. So how much the overlap, and we calculate the distance between here and here, plus 2 overlaps, and that's how we got to this measurement.
And the height is the opposite.
The height, we need to see how much we want on the bottom. So we subtract the total height minus this, minus that, and we have the height. Yeah.
And it's right.
And we have a lot more to cut.
Yeah.
Let's cut them.
6 more.
Yeah. So the reason why we have tape is to make sure that the cut is clean, because it's perpendicular to the fiber of the plywood, and makes a much cleaner cut. It just makes a huge difference. It's pretty good.
plan?
We're trying to create a template so we can carve the handle with the router. It's gonna make sense. Just give me another 5 minutes. It's gonna make sense. And that's the jig. We're gonna clamp this jig on the door like this, and then we get the router and we carve. I just realized it's wrong. We did the wrong measurement. We need to do all over again, but now we know what to do. So let's skip this part and go straight to the jig ready now. So after a while we came up with the jig.
Finally.
All we need to do now is to clamp the jig here and trim with the router, and we have the handle that we want. But we need to be honest.
This was the fourth one.
Yeah, fourth, yeah. Yeah, took us a few attempts until we got the handle we wanted. That was the first one.
First one.
Completely wrong.
We forgot to add this space.
Yeah, so basically we need to have 4.2 centimeters until the bead carves.
So this was the first one, this was the second one.
We fixed this problem, but then we couldn't get the same curve, the same angle here. I don't know why. The angle is the same, but once we carve, it just ends up with a different angle. It still doesn't make sense for me, but at least all of these are made with scrap pieces that we were not gonna use anyway, so it's not like that much waste of material. And then we came up with this one
to fix the mistake of that one.
What's good, but works, it's straight, but we didn't like that the handle was too small, so we wanted to make a little bit bigger. And we came up with this. This one is the one we like it.
The final one.
Yeah, the number 2, it's here, number 3 is here. So basically we want to have doors like this, so we need to have 2 handles and we want them to match. So now we need to draw the line together just to make sure we have the same line. Let's start with door number 2. So now that we have the reference line, we match this line with this line.
Travel far, now retreating.
So basically the doors are gonna have like a small gap, and that will become that's pretty good. I like it. That's the rest.
I've longed for this place for so long. Now I lay me down and be long. And I breathe in the air fresh from the blessed Midwest. I am held by the forest where I go for rest, and washed by the waters of Lake Michigan. And wherever I go, I will return again to my home, the blessed Midwest. I am torn, I am bleeding. See many souls, many holy. Remember their faces and hope. Oh, till we meet again, oh.
Time for the tricky part. Something that we've been postponing for a while, but we need to put the ring. How it go?
Rings.
Yeah, that's kind of tricky for who never done it before, I guess. So it's this kind. that basically we need to cut a 35 millimeters hole in order to fit this in here. And to do that, as we're gonna do it too many times, we brought out the big drill press. It's been a long time we don't use the drill press. And there's this jig that supposedly is gonna help us. Yeah, basically these are all the holes necessary for this wrench made by the manufacturer. This. Same here. This is just to make sure the drill worm is light. I think it's gonna help. And now, the tricky part. One done. Now we need to make sure this is square. That's it. So now we have two. That is what we need. All we need to do is to make sure that this is as much close to the door as possible. And then once it's in place, we can calibrate. And this, you need to open up a little bit. And like this, it's easier to install and make sure that this is close to the wardrobe itself. So cool.
We did it.
Yeah. I mean, we need to still calibrate, but
It's perfect.
it's working nicely. That's pretty good, eh? Yeah. Now we still, of course, need to calibrate this, but the handle. Isn't that cute? That's so cool. Actually, it was easier than we thought to install the doors. I mean, we still need to install these two doors, but it looks so cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
They can see. I didn't know. That's so cool.
There's the brake.
So cool.
Yeah, let's start this one. So now it's getting dark. We're gonna install these two, and tomorrow, as usual, we're gonna come back and show you how
Details.
that looks. So tomorrow it is. Ta-da! That's so cool, huh? Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the color is much better than we thought. I mean, like, just, I don't know, just a good color.
The whole thing's way better than we thought.
Yeah, and the
it would
handle was just an idea, but the idea actually worked.
be. The idea was to save some money.
Yeah. If we need to buy handles, we need to spend money on the handles, and like this, we just carve. There's no cost involved in that. We had already the bit to do that, so it's just amazing. And it breaks.
It's really good.
Yeah, the plan this week actually was to finish the whole bedroom and to have all this painted already, the bed and everything. But painting takes a lot longer than we think, and this took a lot longer than we thought. even though it was not that hard, but took a long time.
We
So we didn't
spent like
think- yeah.
3 days just on the doors.
Yeah. But less excuses. Let's show you one thing that people asked about last week's video. A lot of people didn't understand what we mean, and that's what I meant. All this is storage. So we can open up this. We can open up this.
Every single
Every single piece of wood you can open up, and you can store things underneath. For example, this one you can open up also. So the reason why,
can storage.
yeah, we can store sandals here. So the reason why we didn't show you that before is because we wanted to paint and show you when it's really, really beautiful. And right now there's a lot of filler and stuff that it's not quite that pretty. So next week we plan to paint this whole thing, to open up a small hole on each panel so it's easier to open up, and to build our drawers. Yeah. Here we're gonna have 4 drawers, and that's gonna be a really cool idea. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be really simple and cool. That's gonna be really nice. I'm excited to build that. We didn't build yet, but next week.
Yeah.
Other than that, anything else?
No.
No? Are you sure?
Yeah.
She's excited. She loves it. She wants to bring her clothes already and store
I want to
everything
live
there.
here already.
Yeah, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah.
So,
So we see you guys next
week.
Thank you.